Hello, hello. I think we're live. Hi, everybody. Hello. I see Ronnie in the chat, Raylene in the chat. Hi, guys. I am. I'm a little late, but that's okay. I'm a little late, but that's okay. I want to just pop over here and just add to the stage. Okay, so court is not in session yet, so we're good. We are still bueno. Okay. Hi, my name is Lily. If you are re-watching this, I am not a lawyer. I am just really into trials, and this one in particular is very, very interesting to me. I am just adding a couple of things to. I am not a lawyer. I am not a lawyer. And I don't want to be a lawyer. I will never be a lawyer. I am just really interested in trial stuff. And so for today, we are technically not supposed to have court on Fridays. So this is interesting because they had Wednesday off, reason still unknown to me. The reasoning might be out there. I think it was like some sort of weird, only celebrated in Massachusetts, like holiday type of thing on Wednesday. But anywho, we have court today, which is exciting. We like court. We have been slugging through these witnesses. We have had, let me give a count. I should number them as we go, but I am taking notes as we go. So we have had two witnesses which were related, sort of like yes and like sister-in-law to the deceased John O'Keefe. We have had two officers, both named Stephen Saroff and Stephen Mullaney. We have had Timothy Nuttall, Anthony Flamati, Matthew Kelly, Francis Walsh, and now we are on Katie McLaughlin, all paramedics, like fire department paramedics for Canton PD, where this incident took place. So it has been, we all know that it was a snowy day in 2022, end of January 2022. It was a very snowy day. The winds were a whipping. That is for sure. The winds were gusting. The gusts were intense. And that is pretty much all we know. We know more than that. We know that there was an unconscious, unresponsive male in the snow on his back, eyes to the sky. Some injuries to his face region, eyes, nose. There was some blood around the nose, some blood around near the eyes. I think there was like a tiny little like laceration. We had confirmation from a couple EMTs that there was an egg on the head, that there was some kind of like wound, maybe like a hit or a blunt force trauma type of situation to the right side of the head. So you guys don't have to look at that fan. And so we know that where the blood around the nose was coming from, unknown. We do know that there was a lot of mucus, bile, and blood in his airways. There was one EMT, I believe, who was it, who talked about the bloated stomach. I can't remember which one, but one of the EMTs said that he had a bloated stomach. It wasn't really mentioned by any other EMTs. Camera is shaking in the courtroom. It wasn't really mentioned by any other EMTs. So is it internal bleeding? Is it just like normal bloating from someone's heart stopping? His heart was not working. They were doing high quality CPR.
Welcome to Zoom for government.
Not many people. I'm just gonna pause that just in case the sound comes through. Not many people know what he was wearing. Clothes were not important to the EMTs, I guess, nor the police officers. He was missing a shoe. We know that the paramedics consistently were saying that there were two women on the scene, and the police officers were saying that there were three women on the scene. So where did that third woman go? Question of the day yesterday. Where did the third woman go? The prosecution is trying to lay the foundation of the paramedics and the police doing like a good job and knowing what they're doing and being like consistent and thorough. And the defense team, I think, is doing a fantastic job at proving that to be incorrect. It may not be incorrect. Like they just may be asking the right questions that give us some sort of like insight into, ooh, maybe they could have done something different. But as of right now, I think the defense is doing a great job into making them look incompetent just all around. The judge is not happy, in my opinion, as not a lawyer, as not a judge, as not someone who has gone through this process. I can sense that the judge is not vibing with the defense. I can sense it. I can feel it. I don't know if it's because of how the courtroom is set up. I don't know if it's because how they're asking questions. I don't know if it's the tone that they're using. I don't know why, but it was very clear these past couple days that the judge is kind of annoyed by them, to me, as an opinion. It's not fact. I don't know. She may or may not be. I mean, there may be things happening that would cause that, but it just feels like it. There were a lot of awkward moments. I got uncomfortable, and if I get uncomfortable, most likely some of the jury will get uncomfortable, especially during cross-examination. And always remember that the jury is able to like just completely excuse a witness, a testimony, like a witness's testimony if they're not like feeling it, they're able to make that decision of if it's like reliable testimony or not. So I don't know. It's very interesting. It's a lot of questions, a lot of how do you become an EMT, a paramedic, a lot of that, which isn't like the juicy trial stuff that we want, but it's the trial stuff that has to be done. I think the prosecution could probably amp their energy up a little bit to kind of keep the jury engaged, because boy, oh boy, is it easy to become disengaged quite quickly with all of these questions, with the same questions over and over and over again. So I don't know, but court is in session. Let's head on over. I am going to eat my breakfast, so I might pop off screen, but I will be listening, and hopefully today is exciting, an exciting day in court. Hopefully. So let's see what we got. Beep, boop, boop.
Enter your participant ID. Please enter the meeting passcode followed by pound.
Oh, maybe not.
Morning, Ms. McLaughlin.
117.
All right.
ER 117, the Commonwealth versus Karen Reed. Can I have counsel identify themselves for the record?
Adam Lally for the Commonwealth. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Mr. Lally.
Good morning, Your Honor. Laura McLaughlin for the Commonwealth.
Morning, Ms. McLaughlin.
Good morning, Your Honor. Alan Jackson from Ms. Reed.
Good morning, Mr. Jackson.
Your Honor, Elizabeth Little, also on behalf of Ms. Reed.
Good morning, Ms. Little.
Good morning, Judge David Yannetti for Karen Reed.
Good morning, Mr. Yannetti. Good morning, Ms. Reed. Good morning, jurors. I have to ask you those same three questions. Were you able to follow the instructions and refrain from discussing this case with anyone since we left here yesterday? Everyone said yes or nodded affirmatively. Were you also able to follow the instructions and refrain from doing any independent research or investigation into this case?
Yes.
Everyone said yes or nodded affirmatively. Did anyone happen to see, hear, or read anything about this case since we left yesterday? Everyone said no or shook their hands. So while you bring your witness in, Mr. Lally, I'd like to see counsel at sidebar for a brief minute.
Counsel at sidebar. Okay, so when they are at sidebar, I will do a little chit chat, little chit chat-a-rooney. We have had questions. I have been talking to friends about this. Really, just that this makes my entire day go by quickly, and I realize I need to start slowing it down. This is the phone is ringing. This is a really interesting case because it has been so divisive in the community that it has happened. And I don't like that they are focusing on the audience right now, which is family members of the deceased John O'Keefe. So I'm going to take that off. This has been very, very divisive. This is very much a topic you don't bring up at Thanksgiving, especially if you don't want to fight with your family, because if they think one way or the other and it's opposite from what you think, it can be quite extreme. There have been tons of protests. There has been a lot of energy from the community to either free or prison Karen Reed. I think it's fair to say that the police presence, especially in the Boston area, and Canton is just like a little south of Boston. I think it's fair to say that the police presence is very much respected, is very much enjoyed and like preferred. I think I think the Boston area gives high fives to the police. There's a lot of police support. And so when it comes to the possibility of a cover up, let alone a police cover up, there can be a lot of energy behind that from both sides. So it can get a little testy. It can get a little frustrating. It can be a little much. There has been a lot of when Karen is walking in and out of court, a lot of pictures taken. She may or may not have winked at somebody, and that was like headline news for 3 days. She may or may not be smiling, and that can be headline news for a couple days. This is a very high profile case for this area. And but as this case was as a trial was approaching, the knowledge of it was spreading throughout like the nation. So it's getting a lot of eyeballs from a lot of places, because this is big. And it's not just, oh, the police decided to cover it up. It's the incompetence from day one, essentially, allegedly, that could lead to something like this even happening. We will get to, I'm sure, I hope so, the history between John O'Keefe, the deceased, and the owners of the home, 34 Fairview Drive, where he was found unconscious, unresponsive in the yard, getting covered in snow, in blizzard-like conditions. We will eventually, I'm sure, find out some more information. The discovery that has happened for this case has run very, very deep. So there's a lot of information to come. We are right now, it feels like just sort of stuck. It feels like we're just sort of stuck in this world of when she found him. It feels like we are not ever going to get out of it. But there's so much more that we will learn. The evidence is going to pile up very quickly once we sort of step away from all of the paramedics, all of the police, what happened with Karen. I feel like once we move to the point where Karen gets sent to the hospital as well, for whatever reason. We heard one reasoning was that she was making unaliving comments after she left the scene where she found John O'Keefe in the first place. So that's something that came up. And I'm just going to skedaddle through and get back to this. All right, let's get on back to it. We are moving. We are moving. Hopefully, we move at a little quicker speed than yesterday with all of this. Hopefully. All right, back to Katie McLaughlin.
Whenever you're ready, Mr. Lally.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Hopefully, Mr. Lally had some coffee today.
For you. So, turn your attention to the period of time you testified about yesterday when you're at, Mr. O'Keefe is in the back of the ambulance. With respect to his clothing, what, if any, observations did you make in regard to that clothing?
He had, in terms of what he was wearing,
First, in terms of what he was wearing.
he was wearing jeans. He had on
If it is too
a
low,
dark
feel
colored,
free to let me know.
light zip up jacket. And I noticed one sneaker.
Now, with regard to that clothing, what, if any, observations did you make in regard to the condition of that clothing?
It was soaked through.
As far as tears or holes or anything else with regard to that clothing, what, if any, observations did you make of that?
I didn't see any.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have exhibit number 18. May I approach the witness, John?
Yes.
So this is the laser pointer. Just press that.
Okay.
Now, first, Firefighter McLaughlin, do you recognize what's up on the screen as exhibit 18?
Do I
Do
recognize
you recognize what it is?
what it is?
Yes.
Yes.
And what do you recognize it to be?
The address of the call, 34 Fairview Road.
Now, with respect to this photograph, do you observe within it or where Mr. O'Keefe was on the ground when you first arrived?
From this angle, no, I don't.
And if you could, it was not on the photograph, is it off to the left, the right, or where would it be in relation to this photograph?
To the left, I would say.
And about how far off frame do you believe it was?
I'm not sure. So my view of the call was, my reference point wasn't a house on either side. The patient was off the road. So my view of this call was the patient was on the side of the road. The only thing that I noted was a fire hydrant. So in relation to, I know it was to the left of a house, but I'm not sure exactly how far left it would be from this picture, from this angle.
So your memory is to the left of the house near a fire hydrant, is that correct?
Yes.
Take that down. I have no further questions.
All right. Cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor.
To me, that was a little odd. Why would she?
Good morning, Mr. McLaughlin.
Morning.
You responded to the call.
So she didn't know?
Unresponsive male in
Was
cell.
he? Did they move him by the time she showed up?
Address you recall, correct?
Correct.
The house you just looked at, that is in fact 34 Fairview, right?
Yeah, it's
Correct.
got to be 34 Fairview. Everyone else identified it as such.
As Mr. O'Keefe was being transported by ambulance, you were instructed by firefighter Flamati to get information about the victim from Karen Reed, correct?
He wasn't being transported by the ambulance at that time. He was on the stretcher. And Tony, who was at the head of the stretcher, asked me to get information from Miss Reed about the patient, but he wasn't being transported in the ambulance at that time.
Who's Tony?
Firefighter Flamati.
Got it. When you did, in fact, did you follow those directives?
I did.
Yeah, I agree that
Can you
the
find
photo
a,
that they keep
approach
using for the side of the house
Reed in order
is
to get that medical
terrible.
history as best you could.
that was the
What
best photo
scene
taken
was
as the
with
sun. Like, this was golden
What
hour.
around
The
you?
sun was coming up as you were taking photos.
So they
that's the
started to
best
move
picture
the
that you
stretcher
got.
towards
Yes,
the
it was
ambulance.
those, like, conditions. But
Miss
yeah.
Reed was sort
So
of
far, the evidence presented is
I guess I
all
would describe
garbage.
it as moving around the scene. So
Like,
she was moving,
garbage quality.
kind of
They
going
were doing
in
high
circles.
quality
So
CPR.
I was
but
really just focused on her trying
Honestly, it really
to
does.
get her to converse with me and get those questions. So that I wasn't really noticing anything else at that point. I was more just trying to contact her, and she was moving around.
What were you wearing at the time?
I had my like winter fire jacket on.
What color is it?
It's yellow and red.
Bright yellow for safety purposes.
Yes.
When you began your actual questioning, once everybody sort of stood still, you began your questioning of Ms. Reed. You were standing in one spot, Ms. Reed was standing to your right, is that right?
Well, the questioning started, as I said, she was moving around the scene. So the questioning was ongoing as she was moving around to different locations. I don't know exactly how many of the questions I got out during the time that she was moving around. At one point, we did come to a stop. And at that point, she was to my right.
That's the point I want to focus your attention on, if I could. When you came to a stop, that's the point at which you recall the statement being made that you attribute to my client.
Yes.
Okay. And in that group, who was there? I want to make sure I understand this exactly.
So there was Miss Reed to my right. There was a civilian woman to my left. There was a police officer who was not directly across from me, but I would say maybe diagonal to me, closer to Miss Reed.
Your Honor, I'm holding a photograph. This is shown to the Commonwealth. May I approach?
Yes.
I'll show you, Mr. McLaughlin, a still photograph. I'm going to ask you to take a quick look at that photograph and look up after you've studied it for a second and tell me if you recognize people that are in that photograph.
I recognize
Okay.
people in it.
May I publish, Your Honor?
Yes. Is this an exhibit, or are you moving to introduce it?
I'm moving to introduce it. It has not been introduced as yet.
Okay. So go ahead and have the witness adopt it first.
Sure. Do you see the person closest to frame? Closest to the camera?
Yes.
In what appears to be a yellow and red jacket.
Yes.
Who's that?
That would be me.
Who's to your right?
It appears to be Miss Reed,
And to your left?
a civilian woman,
And across, as you said, sort of diagonal, closer to Miss Reed is,
a police officer.
do you know that officer's name, by the way?
I don't know his name.
Okay. Your Honor, with that, I would ask that this be marked as next in order.
Okay. Is there any objection?
No objection.
So we are going to remark these exhibits today because of the problems that I indicated at sidebar. How do you want to do this, Madam Reporter? I don't know where we start from.
She's like, I don't know.
Tori,
I
how
don't
many
know.
are in evidence?
I'm not. Ooh, problems. Yeah.
Folks, it's my responsibility to make sure the record is intact. And
Yes.
You've heard numbers 1, 3, 309, 247. We need to straighten this out to make sure it's appropriate for you. You know what, Madam Clerk, Madam Court Reporter, just mark it as the next exhibit number, whatever in the hundreds that is, and we'll take care of this today. I don't want to waste your time, folks, while we do this, but it's very important that we do it.
That's fair.
All right.
There's so many witnesses. There's so much evidence.
All
It
right, so
needs to be
There was any
organized.
objection to that from the Commonwealth?
Because the jury
No, no.
needs to be
Okay.
able to like
Thank you, Your Honor.
find
Yes.
Thank
when
you.
they deliberate the
Mr.
piece of evidence
McLaughlin,
that they're looking for.
This is the time or the scene that you told us about when you heard the statement that you've attributed to my client, correct?
Sorry, say that again.
Sure.
Okay.
This is a moment in time, captures a moment in time when you're standing there. To your right is Karen Reed, which you've described. To your left is a civilian female, which you've described. And across from you is an officer, which you've also described.
Yes.
So this would be the time or close in time to the time that you heard the statement that you attribute to Ms. Reed, correct?
Yes.
The first time you ever made that official report, an official report to law enforcement regarding that statement was January 30th, 2022, correct?
Well, yes and no. The statement was made in front of the police officer, so that would technically be the first time that statement was made to a police officer in my presence. And then, yes, I testified to it on January 30th, as you said.
You said it on January 30th. You weren't testifying under oath, correct?
Okay. Said it. Said it.
Okay.
Yes.
My question was really, and I appreciate you
Ooh,
clarifying. My question
okay.
was really the first time you actually told this statement to any law enforcement officer was on January 30th.
Yes.
Okay, we can take that down. That was when you met with Trooper Michael Proctor, correct?
Yes.
Obviously, that was very close in time to the event. It was the next day. Is that right?
Yes.
The events were close.
The 29th. Yeah. So it would be the next day.
Right, 29th, 30th.
Yeah.
Okay. The events were fresh in your mind at that time.
Yes.
You obviously knew about the importance of that interview. You knew that it dealt with a police officer who had passed.
I knew it was important to talk to the police about what I heard.
And you wanted to be accurate.
Yes.
You wanted to be as detailed as you possibly could.
Yes.
And you understand that memories, obviously, they get a little worse with time, not better with time, right?
Sure.
The closer in time you are to the event, the fresher your memory is going to be about the details of that event. You would agree with that, right?
Sure.
You told Trooper Proctor the day after the event, on January 30th, that the statement that you attribute to my client was actually made to the female, not to you in response to your questioning. That's what you told Trooper Proctor, correct?
I don't have those notes in front of me, so I don't know that I can tell you that that's correct, but the statement was made in response to my question. However, the Miss Reed was looking at the civilian woman as she said that.
Does it refresh your recollection that what
Don't read what you think refreshes a recollection. You can show or you
Average.
cannot read it. Yes.
take a look at the highlighted portion of that report and look up when you're finished.
Don't refresh her recollection for her. Let her do that
Okay.
on her own.
Ma'am?
Sure.
Your Honor, may I
Yes.
approach? Does that refresh your recollection about what you told Trooper Proctor on January 30th?
Yes.
And you told Trooper Proctor,
No,
quote,
let her,
in terms
sh-
of-
if she, if, hold on. I'll see you, Ted.
Ooh. Okay, it is starting off fiery today. Fiery. A good chunk of Karen's lawyers are not local. So I don't know if there's just
Yeah.
differences
in fact, what you told Trooper Proctor was, quote, Karen then turned to her friend
that they
and
aren't
stated,
aware of, or
"I
it's
hit
just
him,
like
I hit
not
him, I
second
hit him, I
nature
hit
or
him."
something.
End quote. Correct?
Okay.
Is that yes?
Yes, if you're saying that's in quotation marks in the in that, then yes.
That's what's in the
Her
report.
saying
Okay.
okay
And I'm not, you don't have to agree with me. I'm asking yes or no questions. not
is
okay.
Yes.
wild.
Okay, thank you.
She's so defensive.
So in fact, what you told Trooper Proctor was that Karen Reed looked at the female to your left and said 4 times, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, correct?
Yes.
And have you since learned that the name or identity of the female that was standing to your left?
No.
But why is she defensive and flustered?
You're aware that the female that was standing to your left reported the exact same statement?
No.
are you aware that the female standing to your left reported that exact same statement as, could I have hit him? Did I hit him? Did I hit him?
No, I'm not aware of that.
You then went back to the ambulance.
And look
after
at her
you heard
body
that statement
language.
that you believed you heard.
She's
the
leaning
husband.
forward, her shoulders are up,
Yes.
You opened
and
the
she's
ambulance
making
door, correct?
solid
That was the
eye
back door,
contact with him.
The side door.
the side door.
She's keeping eye
And there were
contact
two
as she
officers-
moves to
I'm
the
sorry,
microphone
two,
to answer.
firefighter
She
paramedics
does
in
not
that
like
ambulance
this
at the
man.
time, correct?
I believe there were more than 2 at that time.
2 of them included firefighter, not all.
I
of them,
love watching
firefighter
people's body
Lamont.
language.
Yes.
And at that point, you told them what you believed you had just heard.
So I went into the back of the ambulance. I said, this is his name. This is his date of birth. She says he doesn't have any medical history or allergies, doesn't take daily medications.
Might be.
And then I said, she's saying I hit him. And firefighter Nuttall motioned to his face and said something.
Objection, Your Honor.
Ask another question.
So the answer to my question is, yes, you told in front of Flamati and Nuttall the phrase, I hit him.
Yes.
You didn't write that in any report.
I don't write a report in this scenario of my job.
Let her finish the answer, please.
So there are 2 people that will write reports in my
Why let her
department on a
finish?
call. One being the lead paramedic and the other being the officer who's on scene. So those are the people that write reports, and I was neither of those, so I did not write that in a report.
Okay.
That's correct.
So let me
Why-
ask the question again. You didn't write it in any.
Why did she make him let her finish? Did you write this in a report? No, I didn't write a report. No, I don't write reports. Why make him let her finish? Just answer the question.
Any report.
No.
You didn't write it in any notes.
No.
You didn't document that statement in any way whatsoever, correct?
Other than my interview with Proctor and my subsequent testimony.
You didn't document that statement in any way yourself, did you?
No.
Since January 30th, in that conversation that we just talked about with Trooper Proctor, your statement has evolved. Is that right?
I don't know how to answer that.
You testified yesterday to something quite different.
Yes or no?
Not quite different.
Than what you testified, I'm sorry, than what you stated to Trooper Proctor.
Respectfully, I think my testimony has been pretty consistent.
You
Respectfully,
testified to something yesterday
screw off.
quite different in context than what you told Trooper Proctor. Isn't that right?
I don't know that that's right.
Well, you told Trooper Proctor.
Uh-oh, here we go,
Karen
folks.
Reed looked at a female standing to your left, said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. Right?
Yes.
Yesterday, you told these jurors that Karen Reed said, I hit him. And an officer said, you what? And she repeated, I hit him. And the officer immediately turned and went to find another sergeant. Is that right or no? Yes or no?
Yes or
No,
no?
there was more to that testimony.
That's
I
not what you
think.
said yesterday?
Yes
I think I
or
said
no?
more than that, than what you just repeated.
Is what I said consistent with what you said yesterday? There's a lot of things that you said, more of. I'm asking, is that the sum and substance of what you told these jurors yesterday?
Yes.
So you would agree that from that time till yesterday, your story has evolved. It's changed.
Would I agree with that?
No.
I don't know that I agree with that.
You think the story that you told Trooper Proctor is exactly the
I
same story?
understand what you're saying. So I understand what you're saying.
So has your story evolved?
No interrupting.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Stop saying okay. It's not making you look good. It's not making you look good. Saying okay.
Ms. McLaughlin.
Look at how she
who's
keeps
Caitlin
dipping
Albert?
forward. She's so over him.
I went to high school with somebody named Caitlin Albert.
With somebody named Caitlin Albert.
I went to high school with somebody named Caitlin Albert.
So do you know Caitlin Albert?
I do.
friends with Caitlin Albert?
I would say more acquaintances, not close friends.
The very second witness, Erin O'Keefe, Paul's wife, the brother-in-law of the deceased, we had the conversation about friends versus friendly. And this is a great example. They're not friends, but she could probably say that they're friendly, right? They're friendly, but they're not friends. Two different. And I talked about how like men probably would experience friends and friendly as almost like synonymous to each other. And women, right here, we can see a woman clarifying the difference between being friendly with someone and being friends. Friendly, acquaintance, I don't have any issues. We say hello in the grocery store, right? Friends, we hang out, we go get drinks, we talk to each other, we mess it. Like,
How do you describe an acquaintance?
I'm just
I would
circling
say
back.
that we have mutual friends, so we might see each other occasionally because of mutual friends, but we don't have a one-on-one friendship or hang out regularly.
Who's her dad?
I don't know.
The objection system.
Do you know who her family is?
Objection.
Sustained.
May we approach her?
Yes.
Why sustain? What do they not want? Why? I want to know why. It's probably objection relevance. And he probably hasn't built enough foundation, or it wasn't talked about enough in like there's no reason for him to bring up this person's family in cross because it wasn't like even brought up or like thought about or even mentioned in direct. But now I'm interested. Now I want to know. And now the jury has questions. Who is this person's family? Who, like, what, why even ask the question, right? The defense is very good. I think they're very good. They know exactly what they're doing. And they're smart enough to recognize if there is any sort of bias. Like, I wouldn't say, when I say bias, I don't mean the judge leans towards the prosecution, but you can sense a little more angstiness with the judge when it comes to the defense. Oh, it looks like they're taking a little bit of a break. Looks like they're going to have a little bit of a longer conversation. They're all rising for the jury to leave. And I hate that this picture right here with Karen and then John's family standing right behind her is so awkward and hard to see. We have more. That's just all I thought we need. There's one full one and then I have to one there. Okay, we are taking a little break. They are probably having some discussions, maybe relevance, maybe foundation, maybe what the hell's going on, or maybe like, hey, we told you not to bring this up. We told you not to bring this up. I don't know. Let's talk about what we have just seen. So we had a quick little conversation with the evidence so far, which has been the media, like the pictures of the house. Oh, I keep forgetting. I have to turn off reactions. It's so goofy. That is so goofy. So we have to talk about what we said. She's getting called out. She's getting called out, but why? I don't know why. And I want to know why. And we may not know why, but I need to know why. I want to know why. I need to know why. I think we deserve to know why. I think we deserve to know why. So we talked about the evidence. The issue with the evidence is that it's all over the place. And the jury is going to have hundreds of witnesses, probably in like the 200 range of witnesses to talk about, to think about, to go over, to review when they start deliberating. And they're going to have evidence to go along with just about each witness. So they want to be able to find it. They want to be able to say, we want to look at this piece of evidence, but but we're on number, 4032, and there needs to be some way of keeping track in like a numerical system that makes sense to everybody. So I think the judge is definitely worried about that, rightfully so. The judge making reference to not wasting the jury's time, totally fair. Totally fair. They're already here on a Friday when they were like told they weren't going to be here on Friday. Could have messed with someone's job. Some people, if you miss one day of work, it can really screw everything up. So when it comes to a jury, you gotta be respectful of their time. And this witness is interesting. Also, did they ask her yesterday where she was the night before she came into her shift? No, I don't believe so. But she was on her shift. It's a 20. So they all the EMT, paramedics, fire, everyone at that like firehouse in Canton work 24-hour shifts. So like 24 hours on, 24 hours off. So I think she was there, and I think this was quite possibly finishing up a shift. So they work from 8 a.m. to 8 a.m. And this call came in at around 6 a.m. So she might have been finishing up her shift because she also made mention that she had to wake up early to help clear the snow off the apron, off the sidewalks, in the parking lot, and all that stuff. So everyone, that's like an all hands on deck sort of thing to make sure the snow is cleared so the engines can get through. So I'm sure she was on her shift from the 8 a.m. before, and she was just about to get off her shift. And then this call came in, and it was a biggie. It was a biggie. So yeah, so she is showing her, to me, she's showing her hand a little bit. She is extremely defensive. Her body language is very much forward, shoulders up. She is not leaving the line of sight of this attorney. She is keeping her eyes on him, even as she goes to like move to speak into the microphone. She is right there. So it's very much how it's giving like, who do you think you are? Like, okay, and you got questions? Okay, like, I'm sorry, the okays are sending me as well. Sending me. Okay is not an answer to a yes or no question. Did you write that she said I hit him in a report? No, I did not write a report. Or no. And very likely the next question was, did you write a report at all? No, I don't write a report. It doesn't look good when you have to explain everything. But it is very much the natural, like it's nature to know that there's an explanation as to why you didn't write a report. And you're only asked, why didn't you put this in a report? Like, did you put this in a report? No, because I didn't write a report, but you don't always have that leeway in court, especially in cross-examination. Just answer the question, because it's very much the same vibe as don't talk to the police, because they are not here to help, essentially. Like, so if you get, don't talk to the police. You always get a lawyer. Right? If you get pulled over or you get arrested or something, and you get handcuffed, you get thrown, don't talk to the police. Saying less may save you so much jail time, bail money. It may save you so much. But you want to explain. You want to explain yourself, the actions, the night, the reasoning. You want to explain like the mindset you were in, why certain things were done. Oh, okay. So it looks like court is on a bit of a break. Let me see if anything else is happening. Maybe Law and Crime has. Oh, they still have the fan up. Let's see. Okay, so there is a lot of streams right now. There's a lot of conversation, and there's a lot of people that have done a lot of digging into this case. I have not, especially when it comes to the Turtle Boy and the cover-up allegations. I know I just said Turtle Boy, and you're probably like, what? If you know nothing about this case, Turtle Boy, let me pull Turtle Boy cover up. Turtle Boy. So the Canton cover up was written by Turtle Boy, who is basically the reason why the idea of the cover up even is like a theory. So Turtle Boy was sort of the first one to put pen to paper about this case having a lot of opportunity to be a cover up and to be a big frame job for Karen, which is very interesting. I did not do any reading or digging or looking because I wanted to go into this without any of that information. After the trial, I might read all of it, all of the parts, the hundreds of parts. There's a lot. He did a lot of work. He wrote a lot. There's hundreds of articles. Okay. But because of what he has written about this quite possibly being a cover up and the evidence that he's uncovered and the reasoning that he's come up with, he is in a bit of legal trouble as well. He has been, I believe, charged with not witness tampering, maybe witness tampering, but like some sorts of like just kind of overstepping like the public boundaries when it comes to the trial. So yeah, there's a lot happening with Turtle Boy, and it's called the Canton cover up. If anyone wants to, I'll just like, honestly, I'll just grab this link and I'll put it in here if you guys want to look at it. There's a lot. This is not like the start of it or anything. I just pulled up some random point. This one was from 17 hours ago. Turtle Boy investigates. Canton cover-up part 342. Caitlin Albert's boyfriend Tristan Morris threatens to punch award-winning journalist in front of children after provoking confrontation. It is very much the energy of poking the bear. Turtle Boy is an expert, a master bear poker for sure. And I kind of, you kind of got to respect it. You kind of got to respect the hustle and you respect the grind for sure. But just in this one, let's see. Caitlin Albert. So that name might sound familiar because we just heard questioning about Caitlin Albert. So Caitlin Albert's boyfriend, Tristan Morris, threatens to punch award-winning journalists in front of children after provoking confrontation. All right, let's take let's just take a little fun little dive and just kind of go outside of what we're supposed to. That's okay. That's okay. Let's see. Where are you? Where? All right, are we coming back to court anytime soon? No. Share screen. Okay, this is the turtleboydailynews.com. It is insanely full of ads. Look at this. Look at all, I keep closing them and they keep coming back. Oh, court's back in session. Let me just pause it and we'll just take a quick Canton cover up let me move myself. Part 342, Caitlin Albert's boyfriend Tristan Morris threatens to punch award-winning journalist in front of children after provoking confrontation. Another ad just popped up. That's kind of a cute wallet. Stop giving me ads. Energy. Where do the words actually start? Right here. This afternoon, I was grabbing lunch at Sullivan's in Southie when I noticed a guy staring at me. I thought I recognized him as being Tristan Morris, the boyfriend of Caitlin Albert. Who is Caitlin Albert? Well, Caitlin Albert was just asked about in trial, which I thought was kind of interesting. I know nothing about Caitlin Albert. I know nothing. So hopefully we will learn who Caitlin Albert is, but there's a lot. All right. Let me share. Let me pull up this. There's a bit of a weird thing happening, but that's okay. That's okay. At least we can hear what's going on.
Board is back in session. You may be seated.
All right, so Mr. Jackson, let's mark for identification the items that you told us about at sidebar.
First in order would be do you want me to describe them for the record, Your Honor?
No. So they're not to be put up on the screen.
These are 4 items. One of them,
So don't describe them. I need to see them. So let's bring them up, mark them for identification, Madam Clerk. Then you'll get them back. But I need these marked for identification, and I need to see them.
And I need
Thank
to
you.
see
So
them.
we'll
Mark them first.
mark them first. All right.
All right, let's just do this one here. Oh, why did that happen? What is actually happening? Oh my gosh. Okay.
Maybe 10.
and you know, it's at a year.
All right. And Commonwealth, you've not seen these before?
No, Your Honor.
All right. So we'll talk about Rule 14 in a little bit, but we'll bring the witness in. You can ask her questions, Mr. Jackson, about her vacation that you mentioned, the drinking that you talked about, the relationship with Ms. Albert. I've forgotten the first name already, and
Caitlin.
Caitlin, and about the house. So you can ask her questions about that, and let's see, you can show her these exhibits or these marked for identification if you need to. You may have trouble actually getting those into evidence, but I'm going to let you find out. You can ask her to identify them, how long ago they were, things like that.
Thank you.
All right, could we bring in Ms. McLaughlin, please? Yes.
All right, so they got that sorted
And
out.
Commonwealth, you just saw these today. I'm sorry, I don't remember if I asked you that.
Yes, and yes.
And you were objecting that, you objected at sidebar that these come in at all?
Correct.
Okay. Oh, here's the fourth one,
Prosecution
I'm
is not
sorry.
happy about this
Mr.
evidence
Jackson, here's the.
and this
the last one.
questioning because they're inching closer and closer to Turtle Boy, Canton cover-up energy. Oh boy, oh boy. Oh
All
boy,
right,
oh
so
boy.
Ms. McLaughlin, Mr. Jackson's going to be allowed to ask you questions outside the presence of the jury, and you're still under oath and you have to answer them truthfully, okay?
Under oath, no jury in the room. She is being voir-dired. I believe that's what it's called. Marked, M-A-R-K-E-D, not mocked.
McLaughlin, when,
Like a smock, not like
just
smocked,
briefly as a predicate, when you
but
stepped out,
marked.
I want to make sure we're very clear. Did you have a conversation with anybody from the Commonwealth between the time you walked out of court and just now?
Just about if I needed a drink of water or to use the restroom.
Okay, but nothing about the substance of your testimony?
No.
Ms. McLaughlin, I asked you before we broke if you know who Caitlin Albert is.
Yes.
You said that you went to high school with somebody by that name, correct?
Yes.
You in fact know that person as a friend, correct?
I know her.
She's more than an acquaintance.
I would say she's an acquaintance. She's not a close friend.
She in a group of friends of yours?
We have mutual friends.
How long have you known her?
She's a little more loosey-goosey with the jury not in the room, huh?
Probably since high school.
When you say, and I don't want to ask your age, I wouldn't do that. How many years, how long of a span of years have you known her?
I wouldn't do that.
Since high
Smart
school,
man.
so maybe 10.
And you know her family, generally?
I don't.
You don't know anything about her family?
I don't know her family.
Had you ever been to her house?
Not that I recall ever being there.
Not that you recall, or you haven't? There's two different things.
I don't recall ever being there.
Okay, so you might have been there, you just don't recall.
I don't recall ever being there.
If I were to ask you if you have ever been to her house, yes or no, you cannot answer that because you don't know. You cannot recall, correct?
I would say, I would lean towards no. I have no recollection of ever being at her house.
Do you guys forget if you've ever been to someone you know's house?
Are you friends
Did you
with her on
forget that?
social media?
Yes.
May I approach her on
I
it?
don't know if I
Yes.
would forget that.
I'm just gonna leave all four. of
Also
these
because
things
I'm
right what they
nosy.
look like.
And so if I'm at someone's house, I'm like, what's
Take
this?
a look
What's
at
this?
the
What's this? What's this? What's this?
Document, what does that document appear to be?
It says Caitlin's friends.
What does it look like? That's a printout of.
I'm sorry.
What does that look like? It's a printout of. Does that look like it's from Facebook or one of the social media apps?
Yeah, I don't know exactly. Some social media.
Okay. Under Caitlin's friends, do you see your handle, for lack of a better phrase?
Girl,
do.
you know the difference between
that
what
you?
Facebook and Instagram
Yes.
looks like.
Can you look at the next photograph?
You know the difference. You can immediately recognize if something's on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or
Before we talk about
Snapchat.
that next photograph, which is, I should go in order for the record, Your Honor. The first one was H. Before we talk about I, which is the next photograph, how long have you been social media friends, quote, friends with Caitlin Albert?
I don't know.
More than 5 years?
That's fair. I don't know
Probably.
people's
More than
date
8 years?
either.
I don't know.
The second photograph, or the second document appears to be a photograph. It's I, is that right?
Yes,
Do you see yourself in that photograph?
I do.
You see Caitlin in that photograph?
I don't remember what she looks like. I don't remember what she looks like.
I do.
When was that photograph taken?
I have no idea.
Where was that photograph taken?
Girl.
I don't know.
You have no idea how long ago that was?
I don't.
What was the
You
event
think a lot?
that was depicted,
You have a
that
bad
is depicted in
memory?
that photograph?
I don't know.
Is that local or was that on a trip somewhere?
I don't know. Probably local. If it's a beach, I don't remember. I've never been away to a beach on vacation with all of these people, so probably local.
When we say local, let's talk about local. I don't mean, we may have different definitions. Where would that be? What beach? I'm not as familiar with the location.
I'm not sure.
Maybe on the Cape?
He's like, I'm not
Possibly.
from here.
Do you recognize some of the other folks in that photograph?
I do.
Matter of fact, there's a lot of people in that photograph, right?
The Cape being Cape Cod.
There's a lot of people in it.
Did you take a trip
love
with
Cape
all those
Cod.
people at some point in the past?
Girl.
Take a trip.
To the beach?
Girl.
Did I go to the beach at some point
Girl.
with these people? Yes.
Okay. When did you go to the beach with all those folks?
I don't know. I don't know
Girl.
when this picture is from.
You don't.
Have you
It
gone,
seems
Girl.
old to me, but
have you, well, you can see yourself. I mean,
I'm
yeah.
What was that?
frustrated.
Did you say it seems old to you?
Yeah, to me.
Okay.
This isn't like a recent to me.
how old do you think that photograph is?
I don't know. It could be around high school. I'm not sure.
And I know Mr. Jackson didn't want to ask you how old you are. When did you get out of high school?
Yeah.
2014. I
Okay.
graduated.
So could that have been around 2014?
It could be.
So you've known Caitlin for at least that long.
Yeah.
And when I say travel, I mean travel outside of Canton, gone places with her, correct?
Yes.
Posed for photographs with her,
Yes.
with other folks.
Yes.
Looks like socializing and partying, correct?
But you
Looks
weren't
like
friends.
socializing.
Maybe a small
Mhm.
vacation.
I've never been on vacation with a big group of people like this.
That doesn't look like what would you call that if that's not like a mini vacation?
A day at the beach.
A day at the beach, okay. So maybe a day vacation.
Sure.
Okay. Let's look at the next photograph.
I'm glad we know
Jay,
you something that is so far from colloquial.
may I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I do need to remind myself. That photograph looks a little older, correct?
They both look old to me. I don't know when they're from.
Girl.
I'm going to ask you the same questions about that. These aren't trick questions. I don't want to waste your time. What's that from?
Answer the question.
I don't remember specifically what or where this is.
Do you see yourself in that photograph?
I do.
You see Caitlin in the photograph?
I do.
You're all
How many people are in this
posing
damn
for the camera,
picture? She's
correct?
got to scan that
Yes.
hard.
What's the location?
I don't know.
No idea.
I don't.
This is yet another socializing event with Caitlin that you can't recall.
There you are.
I don't know where this is
Is that-
exactly.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on your words. Go ahead.
I don't know where this is exactly.
So you've had so many socializing events with Caitlin and other folks that you can't pinpoint this one as opposed to any of the others. that you've had.
That's
No, I'm saying I can't. These photos are old. I don't know. I don't remember where these were or the circumstances around them. That's what I'm saying.
You see how you're dressed in that photo?
what you look like.
Yes.
You see how you see the other friends that are there with you?
Is it summer? Is it winter? Is it fall? Is it
Yeah.
spring?
How many people would you estimate are in that photo?
You got sandals on?
Do you want me to count how many people?
Give me it. I don't have the photo in front of me, so just give me it. Is it more than 5?
12
12 people?
ish.
Do you recognize those dozen people?
I do.
She is
Did you go on
fighting,
a day trip with those
fighting
dozen
tooth
people?
and nail to not
Yeah,
connected
possibly.
with
When?
Caitlin
I don't know.
Albert.
Where?
I'm sorry. I don't know.
Fighting tooth and nail.
I don't remember.
How many
Girl,
times
you
have you gone
know.
on day trips?
The jury's not here. Remember, the
with those
jury's
dozen
not here.
people?
But if they were,
I don't know.
they'd all be saying,
about-
"Girl, answer the damn
Turning back
question."
to
You know?
photograph I.
Were you on the
How many
Cape?
times have you gone on
Where
day
were
trips
you?
and socialized with those number of people? So it's like probably double that, 20 or 25 people.
I don't know.
That's a big group of friends of yours that includes Caitlin Albert, right?
A big group of mutual friends.
So it's not just that she's a mutual friend, she's a friend. Isn't that right?
As I said before, I would consider myself more of an acquaintance. We have mutual friends. I wouldn't consider her a close friend.
Y'all
But-
all sunbathing together.
Yeah, I mean that would be my
Y'all
answer.
about bar hopping
Basically
on the
grew
Cape.
up with her, went to high school with her.
High
I didn't
school together?
I didn't grow up with her. I went to high school with her.
When I say grew
That's
up with
4
her, I mean,
years.
you grew up in the same town as her, right?
Grew up in the same town.
Went to the same high school as she did.
Yes.
You know the same
Socialized with the
people.
same friends as she did.
You got
Yes.
her number in
Day
your
trips with
phone.
her,
Yes.
and have all
I'm
apparently
frustrated.
all the same friend group. Right?
I don't know that we have all the same friend group. These are
There's
people
24
that
of you
we're
in a
both
damn
friends with.
picture.
But you don't consider her anything more than just
How
an
many
acquaintance.
friends do you have?
I think I described it to you.
That's a lot of people
The
to
answer
keep
to my
track
question
of.
is you don't consider her to be anything more than an acquaintance.
I wouldn't consider her to be a close friend.
Now let's take a look at the last.
I don't care
photograph.
about close friends. Are you a friend? If she called you and said my car broke down, are you gonna go pick her up? Or are you gonna say
Describe
I'll
what's
get
in
you
that
an Uber?
photograph.
Two different things.
It's a picture of me. Caitlin is in it, and there's seems to be other people in it as well.
May I approach?
Yes.
Both of you can take it. Sorry, I just want to drop it on you. That's a close-up photograph of who?
Caitlin, and I'm also in it.
And
All right.
you're doing
pause.
what?
So Raylene and I, we went to we grew up together essentially, middle school, high school. There was our schools were so big. Our schools were so big, especially our high school. We had so many people. We're Facebook friends with all the people, we know all the people, we recognize all the names. And yeah, I may be in a photo with somebody from, 10 years ago, but I wouldn't answer in this way. Like if I was their friend or if I was an acquaintance, and if I really was an acquaintance with somebody, I'm like, oh yeah, we're actually only connected because we went to high school. Like the only reason she's there is because her bestie is over here, my bestie is over here, and they're connected by mutuals, right? Like you may end up in a photo with somebody that you don't know, or somebody that you kind of know, or somebody that you went to high school with, or somebody that you don't even talk to. But if there quite possibly is evidence that you were in her house, that she's in your phone, that you are going on day trips. If I went on a day trip with somebody to the beach that I was an acquaintance with, I would honestly probably call them a friend by the end of it, especially if we were part of planning another one. It would probably be a friend, right? Because you'd probably have at least a conversation or two, probably get a couple drinks, have some food. Maybe you guys like the same books or something like that. I don't know. It just seems very weird. And then she keeps instead of saying friend, close friend. They're two different things. There's a difference between a close friend, a friend, and an acquaintance. And I know that she knows, and she's trying to change it verbally from what I believe to be the truth. And she keeps saying close friend. I wouldn't consider a close friend. A friend is not a close friend. There are two different things. You got a bestie, you got a close. You got friends and you got acquaintances, right? That's too much. It's too much, girl. Are you friends? Because you are now in photos, multiple different photos with this woman. I don't understand if there's like one, maybe two, right? I don't know. This feels very weird to me. This feels very lie-y to me.
In the photograph.
This girl is sus. Mike, this
As it
girl is so
relates to
sus.
Caitlin.
It seems like I'm kind of kneeling down next to her.
Touching her?
Are you?
Can I see that for just a minute, please?
She's like, let me see this damn photo. I'm so tired of this. Can we just get on with it? Are you friends or not? Oh, that also looks like a terrible photo.
So just for the record, may I approach one more time? Now?
Yes.
Thank you. Take a look at that one more time.
He's like, yep, that's you. That's her. You're touching her. Right. Let me ask you these questions again. Like, great. Are you touching her?
You're sort of just behind Caitlin in that photograph?
Yes.
Caitlin's the one drinking the beer?
Yes.
You got your right arm around her?
Yes.
Both
Girl.
appear to be wearing swimwear,
Yes.
bathing suits,
Yes.
and you're giving some sort of a sign with your left hand?
No, I'm not.
Is that somebody else's hand that I saw? Maybe that's Caitlin's.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't have the photograph in front of me. I don't have it committed to memory.
You could
Looks
have
like
made two
that's a photograph
copies.
that you and Caitlin posed for
You
together.
could have
correct?
made two copies. Looks like you just went through a
seems like
normal
it's
printer.
a close-up of a bigger, like a picture. It seems to be zoomed in on a group of people.
Which was posted on social media.
Oh,
Okay.
were you tagged? Did you
Right.
tag yourself or did
Are
she
you
tag
telling me
you?
that?
I'm asking you that. You ever seen that posted on social media?
I don't recall seeing this picture, but If it was on social media, then okay.
How long ago was that picture taken?
I don't know.
Who took the picture?
I don't know.
Where were you when the photograph was taken?
Probably at a beach with if we're wearing bathing suits.
Probably at a beach or at a beach?
Were you guys in your tankini
Well, I
vibe
can't
or,
see a beach in the picture
or cover up
wearing
vibe?
bathing suits. It could be at a beach.
The
Right,
wrong
you recognize
vibe.
the bathing suit that you're wearing in the photograph?
No,
You literally don't even recognize your own outfit?
no,
So that doesn't help define where you were and when that photograph was taken?
no, sir.
She's like, sir, you
Do
don't
any
know
of
how
these
many
photographs
switches I
remind
have.
you that you've been to Caitlin's house at some point in your friendship with her?
No,
Has Caitlin ever been to your house?
not to my recollection.
When was the last time you talked to Caitlin?
Yeah, when was the last time you talked to
Um,
Caitlin? Huh?
I don't remember exactly. It's probably been a few years.
When was the last time you talked to Was it when
When was the
Karen's
last time you
Reed
went to an
charges
event,
were upgraded?
socializing event with Caitlin?
Was it
Again, I
then?
don't remember exactly.
Did you talk to Caitlin at any point at or around
January
on or around January 29th,
Right.
2022?
No,
When was the last time you had talked to Caitlin before January 29th, 2022?
I don't know.
Would it have been a day before, a week before, a month before?
Do you have the
no, I don't talk to
text
her,
logs, the message logs?
like I said, we're
The
not
phone
like
data?
close friends, so it's like pretty infrequent that we would interact. So I don't
Right.
know when the
Close
last time
friends.
before that.
She said it
What about
again.
texting
Close
or
friends.
Snapchatting or communicating in that way?
I
Not tell
don't
me you got
remember.
Snapchats.
Would it have been a week before the 29th?
Ooh.
I don't think so.
Ooh.
You don't think so or you know so?
He's trying
I
to
don't
get her
think
to
so.
say it because he probably
What
has
about
evidence.
after the 29th, after you responded to 34 Fairview? You ever have any communication with her?
Not that I can recall.
So is that something that you think you might remember if you
was so
responded
much
to a
better than
house
yesterday.
or father where there's a police officer dead or dying on the yard, on the lawn, 30 feet from the front door? You might have had a conversation with Caitlin?
I've never had a conversation with Caitlin about
I'm just gonna go back.
You responded to a house of her father where there's a, you ever have any communication with her?
not that I can recall.
Listen to this.
So
Sorry.
is that something that you think you might remember if you responded to a house of her father where there's a police officer dead or dying on the yard, on the lawn, 30 feet?
Okay. So the father of Caitlin was the homeowner of 34 Fairview Drive.
From the front door? You might have had a conversation with Caitlin?
I've never had a conversation with Caitlin about that call or this case.
Did you ever
I'm
contact
freaking
any
out.
of your other friends about the fact that you responded to Caitlin's parents' house?
No,
Were you ever asked about this
Caitlin's
relationship that
parents'
you had
house.
with Caitlin Albert, this friendship that you had with Caitlin Albert at or near the time of the 29th of January?
no,
Did you ever disclose to anybody that you had a relationship with Caitlin Albert at or around the time of this event?
no.
I'm gonna. My head is exploding right now. The
When you went to
tight
34
knit
Fairview,
of the community.
You knew that that was the Albert family home.
You
correct?
knew.
No,
When did you learn that it was the Albert? You now know that.
I know that now.
When did you find that?
When did you figure it out?
I don't know. I don't recall. It was some point after. It was, but I don't know when.
Would it have been the next day?
No,
You and firefighter Flamati and firefighter Nuttall were all discussing this case pretty intently
Oh my
after
god!
this event, correct?
no,
It's not that often in the little town of Canton that a police
Little town
officer
of
is found
Canton.
dead or dying on another police officer's lawn. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Little town of Canton.
we
Ooh.
responded to a medical call. So the conversation after the fact was at the hospital, debriefing the call, going over what happened, what we use for equipment, what we need, and just like that was
She
the
does know. She does
the
know it is
extent of the
illegal to lie under
conversation.
oath.
Would you agree that this case, given its notoriety, is discussed at the fire station almost daily?
I don't know when I'm not there, but it does get brought up.
And obviously the fact that the house belongs to, or belonged at the time, to the Albert family is part of that discussion.
It was part of the discussion.
I don't know. Like I said, it gets brought up, but I just avoid it. I don't engage in the conversations.
It was
It's not
certainly enough of
important.
a subject matter that you learned, according to you, after the 29th, that house belonged to Brian Albert, Cole Albert, parents of your friend Caitlin Albert, right?
Well, at that point, it was on the news consistently, so I don't know where that information was introduced, but
But it was pretty early on after the 29th.
She's fighting.
I don't recall when it was known that was the case.
I mean, you didn't learn that was the Albert family home last week.
No,
You've known it for going on 2.5 years.
Going on two
I
and a
don't
half
know
years.
exactly when I learned that
Yeah. Okay.
that was the house.
I realize you don't know exactly, Mrs. McLaughlin. I'm not asking you the day
It's like
you
pulling
learned.
freaking
I'm asking
teeth,
you,
man.
you've known this basically through the lifespan of this case.
Just
At
about.
some point after.
Yes,
I
very
learned it.
soon.
Right.
It compared from
I'm
two
just
and a
trying
half
to
years to
figure out
2 days.
about how long
Like 2
after.
days,
Week
3
after.
days is very
A month
short
after.
compared to
I'm
2.5
not sure.
years.
But it was more
Oh,
toward January
I'm losing
29th
it.
than it
I am
was
losing it.
yesterday, correct?
Correct.
It's okay. It's very good that the jury is not
Just a moment,
here.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Oh my God. Is she exhausting him? Is she exhausting him? Does she just have this much mental stamina to just combat him? Oh, look at Karen just staring her down. Oh, talk about body language. Talk about body language. Summer, get her off the stand. Oh my gosh, Karen, girl, blink. Karen, blink. Blink, Karen. Karen, blink for me. Honey, it's okay.
One
It's
other
okay.
couple brief questions.
This is crazy. This is
Do you know any of
her
Caitlin's
staring
siblings?
her down.
No,
You don't know Brian Albert Jr.?
no.
You know of any of her extended family that might be a little closer in age to you, like
All
Colin
right,
Albert?
back to the witness.
No.
I
Never
can't.
met
It's the
any of them?
tension.
Not that I recall.
Not that you recall or no?
I don't remember meeting any of them.
Your Honor, that's all I have right now.
All right, Mr. Lally,
look,
any
fidget-
questions?
Fidget spinner.
Just a few, Your Honor.
Okay. Wow, I can sense the frustration throughout the entire courtroom from all different
So, Ms. McLaughlin,
Points of
you're
view.
not friends with Caitlin Albert, correct?
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
You're not friends with Caitlin Albert, is that correct?
I would say she's an acquaintance, not a close friend.
No one ever said close friend,
You were
just
showing
friend.
some photographs of you in a fairly large group with Caitlin Albert, correct?
Yes.
You don't know when those were, correct? You
I don't know exactly.
don't know where you were when those were taken, correct?
No, not exactly. They seem old.
Oh, we get it.
And-
They seem old in 2.5 years. You can't remember when you
Just back
figured
up.
out that
You knew her
the
in high
police
school, but
officers
you
died
weren't
in the
friends
lawn of your
with her,
friend's
correct?
parents' house.
I would categorize
Golly.
our relationship as always being just acquaintances. I knew her. We had some mutual friends, but we were never
Yeah.
close friends. We
Now
don't
you
have a
have-
one-on-one relationship.
And as far as
I knew her. We were
high
never
school
close
versus
friends.
post-high
There's a middle
school, you
ground
see her more so
in
during
there
high school, the high school years,
that I feel
or
like you are
after
dancing
graduation?
around completely.
Well,
Also, I don't
probably
want to
more
see
in
this
high
lawyer.
school just because you're there every day. But
Show me the
then
witness.
afterwards, yeah, it was only here and there. Like I said, like mutual friends. So
Just
maybe
here and there, day trips to the
events
beach,
for mutual friends. I might run into her.
drinking. I would
And to
assume.
be clear, and I think you made reference to it, but that last photograph that's marked as K, that seems to be a crop
This
photo
courtroom.
or sort of zoomed in of
It's
a
so
larger
small.
photo, is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
Now, as far as each of those photos you were shown, you're present in a photo with Caitlin Albert in a much larger, correct?
Yes.
Have you ever hung out or socialized with Caitlin Albert outside of the setting of a large group?
No.
You've never been to her house before that date of January 29th that you know of, correct?
Correct.
She's never been to your house that you know of, correct?
Correct.
Oof, she's tired. She's exhausted. I can see it. I can sense it.
Now, as far as that first one, that's
Her shoulders are much
social
lower.
media is concerned, as far as the friends,
They're not as
um,
tight.
and without sort of doing it, I'm sort of putting that in air quotes. How many friends would you say you have on social media in total?
I don't know.
I'm pretty popular.
Maybe over 500. I don't know.
And of those 500 people, how many of those 500 people would you consider actual friends?
Not close friends.
Much
Not close
less
friends.
than that. Less than 10.
Because I'm getting introvert
All
vibes.
right, why don't we wrap this up, Mr. Lally?
Sure. Just when it comes to that day that you responded, you're working with the fire
Ugh.
department, you responded to a
I didn't
call
like
on
that.
January 29th.
Tell them what to
A
do.
home, as you
Seems
say,
weird.
to somewhere on the side of the road. Did you have any idea whose house that was adjacent to where the treatment was concerned with regard to your patient?
No.
I have no.
Okay. All right. So there was an objection that this was in violation of Rule 14 to admit these exhibits, Mr. Lally. That's what you said, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I agree.
This is off.
So the exhibits don't come in, but
Okay.
based on this voir dire and the answers, I'm going to give you some leeway on exactly what you did. Okay. The
Okay.
relationship, the
Okay.
socialization and the extent of it,
Yes.
friends on social media, those areas. You didn't quite get everything that you mentioned at sidebar you thought you'd get. So that's not coming in.
So
If you,
stay within the parameters.
so why don't you come over here then, just because?
Okay. This is very interesting. Okay. So the defense, she fought tooth and nail, and the defense sort of had to step aside and give up on some of the things that they wanted to really get in, which was to establish her being a friend. Look at Karen. She's pissed. Oh, she's so mad. She's a blink girl. There you go. Thank you. Oh, she's not happy. She is very, very unhappy today. So this was a moment for the defense to be able to sort of test the witness and test the responses and test the answers, and in hopes of being able to get it into open court with the jury. There were questions about the validity of just the questioning and everything like that. So it's sort of like a practice practice round for the defense and the court to hear. The defense definitely wanted to get in a lot of information about her friendship with Caitlin and her knowledge of Caitlin and the house, and you grew up together, you went to high school together, you've been friends forever, da 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 da. But she fought tooth and nail to separate the word friend in her brain as from close friend and acquaintance. There's a middle ground there that she was just not giving up on. They were really trying. They're really trying. I am sure that the defense has other ways, other witnesses that will solidify what they want to be known in court, that so many people knew who owned this house. So many people knew that there was a party or activities happening there. So many people involved with the investigation, the care, the initial first response of this incident knew where they were. And they did it with the very first police officer, Stephen Saroff, when he was they were showing the reports and how all these cars were responding to 32 Fairview Road and 35 Fairview Road instead of 34. Why not put the right address in these reports? Why were the times wrong of the documentations of when these police officers showed up, even though the dash cam footage showed Stephen Saroff as the first one there, but it had someone else as the first car there? Why were things wrong from the very beginning? Was it because everyone or almost everyone knew whose house they were responding to? Was it because a good chunk of people very, very quickly found out that it was police officer John O'Keefe, unresponsive, unconscious in the snow? Was it because that? So the defense really needs to pull as much knowledge out of these witnesses as possible, especially when it comes to their info and what they knew then about the house, the homeowner, the activities of the homeowner's children, anything. Did you recognize the car? What did they have 2 cars and you only saw 1 car in the driveway? Like, where did everyone stand on knowing who owned that house? Where did everyone stand on knowing if it was an officer down or if it was just a normal, typical man? So they are fighting, and she fought really, really hard. To be honest, the respect there. She did it. She got that defense lawyer to sort of give up. I'm not going to say give up. That's a bad turn of phrase, but he didn't get what he wanted. He was not successful in his voir dire of this witness. And I knew that term before she even said it. That was very interesting. It was hard. That was frustrating. It felt like pulling my hair out. She didn't want to answer the question. And when someone is able to build that gap of truth, the bridge over the truth, they are
If you all
going
think they're
to
right outside the door, you're mistaken.
Please be seated.
They're never gonna get to it unless they're really faced with insane consequences. Because I feel like her brain, she wasn't lying when it came to the thought of her being close friends with Caitlin Alden.
I do.
But they weren't asking if you were a close friend. They were asking if you were a friend. Frustrating, but very, very interesting. I'm going to put this on 1.25 speed to kind of, we are just a little bit behind, but that was really interesting. Really, really interesting to watch. Also, today I have a whole wheat bagel with strawberry cream cheese. And it's very delicious. Just in case anyone cares. All right, come on. Let's get to it.
Say you had a water. Is there a water waiting for you at the need? Or? I'm okay. Okay. Yeah.
I'm okay.
Lawyers, as you saw, we try and do it as quickly as.
Session, please be seated.
All right, jury is back.
So, jurors, from time to time, there are things that I need to discuss with the lawyers, as you saw. We try and do it as quickly as we can. It's in an effort to make sure that what you see in here in this case is appropriate for you to see in here. So sometimes we spend a little time now that will save us a lot of time later. So we do appreciate your patience.
Mayor,
Yes.
thank you. Ms. McLaughlin,
I
thank
feel
you
so
for your patience.
disrespected, Mike.
When we last left
Boo
off,
to
I was asking you
strawberry
about the
cream
relationship with
cheese?
Caitlin Albert. Recall that?
Yes.
I want to ask you a few
Who
more
hurt
questions
you,
about
Mike?
that. You and Caitlin Albert have known each other for how long?
Since high school.
Which is, give me a span of time.
Probably about 10 years.
You have traveled with Caitlin Albert and friends. When I say traveled, I don't mean to exotic locations. I mean day trips, etc.
Yes.
You have a
It's gonna
group
feel
of
like
mutual friends together, correct?
we rewound and we're
We
getting
have
the same
mutual
questions
friends,
again.
correct.
Those
But
mutual friends.
remember,
have
the
gone on
jury
day
was
trips
not
with
here.
you and Caitlin Albert involved
Correct.
on more than one occasion. As a matter of fact,
And this
Correct.
question
many
should be asked
occasions.
for the
As a
jury.
matter of fact,
I don't know.
more than 5,
I don't know.
more than 10.
I don't know.
You've seen photographs of you with Caitlin Albert on some of these day trips, correct?
Yes.
You've seen at least 3 of those photographs.
Yes.
You're friends with Caitlin Albert on social media.
Yes.
Other than the 3 photographs that you've seen, we just talked about, there have been other events that you've been at with Caitlin Albert that weren't necessarily photographed, or we don't have those photographs, correct?
Probably.
You know that Caitlin Albert is the same Caitlin Albert as the daughter of Brian and Nicole Albert, as you sit here.
Yes. As I sit here today. Yes.
And you know that Caitlin Albert also has siblings, Brian Albert Jr., correct?
As I sit here today. Yes, I know that.
And you also know, as you sit here today, that 34 Fairview
It's like, I'll use your language, sure.
was,
It's
at the
fine.
time of January 29th, 2022, the Albert home, correct?
I know that as of today.
Ma'am, you knew that as of 10 years ago,
You indicated,
or
let me
at
rephrase
least
that.
2 years ago.
When you showed up at 34 Fairview that morning, did you recognize that address or recognize the home as being that of Caitlin Albert's?
No.
You have since learned that that was Caitlin Albert's home.
As I know that now.
And you gave your original statement to Trooper Proctor the next day.
Yes.
And from that day to this day, or let's take yesterday, from that day to yesterday, you learned that 34 Fairview was the Canton Albert family home, correct?
You're asking if I know from,
Between those 2 days,
yes.
between the time you spoke with Trooper
Yes.
Proctor in this report, so yesterday when you testified, you now know that that's the Albert home.
Yes.
He's like, just answer the damn question, woman.
And you also indicated that between that report that you gave to Trooper Proctor, that statement that you gave to Trooper Proctor, and yesterday's testimony, your statement has evolved. You've already admitted that, correct?
Yes.
I don't think I agreed with you on that. I
It's changed. It's different.
I've
It's not the
always
same.
testified to I feel as though my testimony has been consistent.
I appreciate how you might feel.
Ooh,
I'm just interested in the actual facts. You didn't tell Trooper Proctor anything.
that's great. I love that
About-
you feel.
This officer
Uh,
questioning my client. correct?
Objection.
So I'm going to see counsel at sidebar because I think this morphed into a different.
oh. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. But to be fair, he wants to get on record, her saying that my testimony has changed. I'm testifying to either more things. I am saying I now remember more things about that time than I did at the grand jury. He really wants that. And she said,
You agree that
what happened to the voir
statement
dire
that you gave
that
to
we
Trooper
just
Proctor
did?
is not the same as the statement that you gave to these jurors yesterday?
What happened to that?
Yes.
I just don't know.
Yes.
A couple of other questions. When you did make this statement to Trooper Proctor, your visit to Canton PD was coordinated by another officer to put you and Trooper Proctor together for the interview, correct?
I don't recall that.
Do you recall being contacted by a completely different officer to say, hey, Trooper Proctor wants to talk to you, come on into Canton PD, let's have an interview?
I don't remember exactly how the interview was set up.
So that was my next question. You may have just told me this. Do you have any recollection of who set that interview up?
I don't.
His name Kevin Albert sound familiar?
No.
You know Kevin Albert?
No.
You know him to be a police officer at Canton PD?
No.
You know him to be the brother of Brian Albert?
Objection.
No.
The objection sustained.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Okay. Lally, any redirect?
Yes, sir. So firefighter McLaughlin, you went to high school with Caitlin Allen, correct?
The
Yes.
lack of relationship that has
Could
been
you
established
describe the
and
nature of your relationship.
not
with
what the
Jenny
defense
Caitlin?
wanted.
I would describe it as we're not close friends. I would say we're more acquaintances. We have mutual friends. I don't have a
There is
one-on-one,
an in between.
relationship with her.
There's an in between.
And,
Not all friends are
you
close
were asking
friends.
questions about social media, correct?
Yes.
Responses are making my
And
dog
if you
snore.
could, or if you could guesstimate about how many friends, and I'm sort of throwing air quotes in there, how many friends on social media would you have?
I don't know, probably 500.
And of those probably 500 friends on social media, how many of those are actual friends that you talk to, interact with beyond social media?
Much less than that.
Now, prior to, let me ask you this, as far as, would you say that you saw Caitlin Albert more so when you were in high school or more so since you have graduated from high school?
I would say probably more in high school because we were there every day. So
And
But
about
were you
what
taking
year or so was it that
vacations
you
with her in
graduated?
high school?
2014.
And as far as any sort of photographs that were referenced to you, have you seen those photographs?
Here today, I saw them.
Do you have any idea where or when those photographs were taken?
I don't remember.
And of those photographs, it's not just
The
you and
judge is
Caitlin
going to
Albert in a
really
photograph, is that
appreciate this
correct?
line of questioning
Correct.
because it's pretty
A
much
large group of people, is that
verbatim
correct?
Correct.
When
the
you were asked about
voir
sort
dire
of these day trips, they were sort of trips specifically on a day to a beach, it looks like, correct?
Correct.
And to a beach with a larger group of people, is that correct?
from the
Correct.
prosecution.
And with reference to Caitlin Albert specifically, have you ever socialized with her in any setting beyond a setting that contained a large group of people?
No.
I don't know if she
Now,
knew
with
that
respect
or
to,
even
you
thought that
went
the
to, you say high
defense was
school, you
going to
graduated
go
from Canton High School,
in
correct?
on her
Correct.
so hard. I don't
And,
know.
you grew up in Canton, is that correct?
Yes.
And did you know Caitlin Albert before you attended Canton High School?
No, that's probably when we first really interacted with high school.
And essentially,
First
you
really
live
interacted.
within the town.
Did you go to middle school there? Did
I'm
you go
sorry,
to
you work
elementary
within the
school
town,
there? You grew up in
that
the same
you,
town? How
grew
many
up,
schools
correct.
are in
Correct.
Canton?
And is that abnormal from a civil service perspective?
No, from a civil service perspective, you're given more points for residency. So it's actually, I would say, preferred, or you're placed higher on the list if you have residency in that town.
So it's actually preferred and more common than uncommon as far as growing up in a town and then working in that same town in a civil service position like firefighter.
Yes.
Now, during the course of the time that you've been on the Canton Fire Department, have you received calls to residencies or other places or even patients that you either knew or were familiar with?
Yes.
Yeah,
Would that
of
be a reason
course.
for you to not go on a call?
No.
And you have an obligation, wouldn't you say, to respond to a call when a call is made and you're on duty in that station, correct?
Yes.
The objection sustained. Ask the question differently.
Yeah. Thank you.
As far as when you're on duty as a firefighter at a particular station house, you get a call. What, if any, choice do you have to respond to any particular call?
I don't have a choice. I just have to respond to the call.
And then prior to that date of January 29th, had you ever
Yeah, of
been
course.
over-
First responder.
through socialization or otherwise Caitlin Albert's house?
Not that I ever remember.
Has she ever been over your house?
No.
And again, had you ever socialized with her outside of a large group of people?
No.
When you responded on that morning,
You never
this
messaged her
deposition,
at all?
uh,
Hey, girl.
the
Hope you're good.
house
Did you
of
make it home
34
safe?
Fairview Road, did you know?
Nothing?
No.
During the time since January 29th of 2022, have you ever spoken to Caitlin Albert about what happened that morning in front of 34 Fairview Road?
No.
You sure? You sure about that?
Now, you were asked some questions
Are you
on cross-examination
sure?
about
I just feel
knowing
like
sort of Caitlin Albert's parents' names or siblings' names or things of that, correct?
Right.
And prior to January 29th, you didn't know any of those names, is that correct?
No.
You learned of them subsequently, is that correct?
Yes.
May we approach this briefly?
Okay.
May we approach just briefly? Okay, so her demeanor. It's so interesting to see like the immediate sense of relief when you're a witness for the prosecution and crosses over and it's redirect and you're like, oh, okay, whew. Hey bro, what's good? Yeah, no, I don't know, like 500 friends. Yeah. Yeah. When she was just in like, okay, mode, I don't think it helps. I don't think getting that defensive or fighting that hard helps. I think if she just said, yeah, I was informed, like that next week that was so and so's house, but ever since the call, like I never had a conversation with her. I feel like having a different demeanor would probably be a little more digestible by the jury, because if you are going on that much defense, the jury is going to say, why are you so defensive right now? If you did nothing wrong and nothing was wrong and nothing was bad and you didn't break any laws and you didn't do anything wrong and there was nothing wrong, why are you being so defensive? I think the energy, the sassy, spicy energy is expected from the lawyer. I think the jury is going to expect the cross-examination to be fiery and to be energized and to be a little louder, especially after a couple of days of this. But I don't know if so far almost every single witness, so far a good chunk of the witnesses have been extra defensive about their answers during cross. And I don't know if that's a
So,
good
Mr.
look
McLaughlin,
when it
we
comes to a
learned
jury.
of other people's names.
It
within the
might just be
Albert family.
better to just keep the
Subsequent to
state
your response to
be
this
all
call on January
across,
20th,
right?
is that
But
correct?
it's hard.
Yes.
It's hard to
And
keep
you
the
learned of
state.
those through sort of various news or
I don't
media
know.
reports in relation to this case. It's
I
not
don't know.
something that you had any conversations with anybody about, correct?
Correct.
I have nothing further.
All right.
All
If
right,
I may,
we're done.
Okay. Okay.
You indicated, Ms. McLaughlin,
Recross.
Mr. Lally just asked you about these 500 friends on social media. A couple of quick questions about that. Of those 500 friends on social media, how many of those have you taken day trips with?
I don't know.
How many of those have you gone to the beach with?
I don't know.
How many of those have you posed for photographs with?
I don't know.
How many of those have you posed for photographs in swimwear with?
I don't know.
How many of those have you been photographed with your arm around while that other friend is drinking a beer?
Sustained.
Okay.
Sustained.
Too
Ms.
far.
McLaughlin,
Too
all of
far.
those things that I just mentioned, you have done with Ms. Caitlin Albert.
Objection, Your Honor.
The judge was literally about
Okay.
to speak before the objection was even.
All right, Firefighter McLaughlin, you are all set.
He had to. Right? He had
All
to.
right,
The last two, he
jurors,
didn't
we
have to.
are getting ready to go for our view. So we're about to visit a place which you'll be hearing about some more. You've heard about, you've seen photographs of, and in court terminology, we call this view. The purpose of the view is to help you better to understand the evidence, which you'll hear during the trial, and to help you appreciate the location and its surroundings. The view that you will take is a part of this case. The observations that you make while on the view
This is
may be
exciting
used and considered in your deliberations in reaching a
it's
verdict.
not like
The place that we're
happy
going to go,
exciting,
you've seen
but-
photos of, you've heard, it's 34 Fairview Road.
we're not
The
sitting.
lawyers and I will
in the
accompany
courtroom.
you on the bus. The attorneys may point out to you the arrangement of the scene and items that they want you to pay special note of, but otherwise they cannot discuss anything in this case in regard to this case, and they can't talk to you. All right, they'll be able to do an opening here, and they'll be able to point these things out. While you're on the view, it's very important that you can't take notes, and you certainly can't use your phones and take photographs. All right, it's really
No
just
notes.
for you to see. You cannot conduct any independent investigation while we're there or at any time during the trial, as you've been told. You're not to return to the scene or ask anyone else to do it for you until the case is over. So
Don't
this is
return to
your
the scene.
opportunity to take a look when we go. What you
Oh,
are
the
to do in the
temptation.
view may be
Early
best
on in the
summarized
case.
in two very familiar words, which is stop and look. Okay. Your responsibility is to see the place, to observe it carefully, and to remember what you see. So during
Wow.
your trip to and from the place that we're going to view, you're not to discuss this case
No discussing
or
the
anything
case.
about it among yourselves or with anyone, and you are not to permit anyone to talk with you about the case. You'll be under the supervision of our great court officers at all times, and you'll remain together until you return to court, unless the court officers direct you otherwise. And just so that you know, because some of this came up during our jury selection process, spectators, if there are any, and all members of the press have been ordered to stay 100 yards away from you. All
Press
right,
to
so
stay
you can go and you can
100
look
yards away
and take your time looking without
jury.
worrying about any interference from anyone. All right. So with
There
that,
better not
Mr.
be
Clerk,
any
could you
photos
swear
leaked
in,
of
please, the
this
court
jury
officer?
Court
after the
officers, raise your
viewing.
right hands, please. Do you solemnly swear you will take this jury upon the premises in question and there suffer them to view the same and any property, place, or thing bearing upon the issues on the trial, as they shall seem necessary? That you will not permit the parties to enter in a debate in front of the jury or a person to speak to them unless it be Adam Lally for the Commonwealth and Alan Jackson for the defendant. They to point out such places or things as they deem expedient for the determination of the issue, and that you will keep the jury together until they shall return into court, except the court shall otherwise order, so help you God. Thank you.
All right. So who, Mr.
wonder how
Lally,
long
do you
they
want to
expect
do
to
a
take.
short view opening?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Okay,
So
so we're
ladies
going
and
to do
gentlemen,
opening
as
for the
Aaron
view.
just described,
Very interesting.
we're about to go
This
to
is
a
very
place.
interesting.
When we arrive there, and at any point in
Okay, let
time
me
when
just
we're there,
pause super fast. So the jury is going to go hop on the bus. Hello, if you're new here, my name is Lily. I am not a lawyer. I am just interested in trials. So the jury is going to hop on a bus and go see 34 Fairview Road, where the incident, where the finding of John O'Keefe took place. Is it where the incident took place? Maybe, maybe not. I need more answers. So they are going to get on a bus, and the only people that can talk to them about what they are seeing is one lawyer from the prosecution and one lawyer from the defense team. And those are the only people that they can chat amongst themselves like, oh my gosh, this weather is so beautiful, right? They just cannot talk. The jury cannot talk about the case. They cannot say, hey, oh, I think it was closer to over here that they said, they can't talk about the case. They can't talk about the case to anybody for any reason, for whatsoever. But right now we're going to get basically the reasoning as to why they're going on the view, what they're going to see, how all the rest of the witnesses are going to make more sense. Their information is going to make more sense if you see where it happened. I honestly didn't expect a viewing, but if they have the time, they have the ability, they have the opportunity, I say definitely do it. Now, this is very local. A lot of people might already kind of drive by, sort of, or like have some sort of personal life reasoning to be in like the area of that, because this is in Canton. Well, this is in Dedham. But like there might be a reason, so some people might be more familiar with the neighborhood than others, but I think it's very important for them to see this in person, check the size of the flagpole, see where the fire hydrant is located, see where the road is located, and they can sort of, I don't want to say like imagine, but use like their educated like guesses of living in the Northeast of where snow would have been and like what it would have seemed like if there was a couple 4 to 6 inches of snow on the ground. So this is really interesting to my little brain, my little dumb brain.
Conversation or back and forth. So all I'm going to be asking you to do is just take note of certain locations and certain items as you
Mental
see.
note,
Again,
like
as with
physical
anything
notes, no
in this
physical
case,
notes.
this is as you find them, as you observe. Okay. So first, I'm going to ask you to sort of, when we arrive in a general area, as far as taking note of sort of street names when you're coming into and when you're exiting from this particular area.
Street names.
When we arrive at a stick location,
I
I'm
wish
going
we
to
could
ask
go
you
on
to
the
take
viewing
note
because
of
I
certain
gotta
things
pull
about
up
the
the map.
roadway.
We'll do that probably
Certain
next
any,
week and look at the map
certainly any
of where the EMTs were
abutments
coming
to the
from,
roadway, any residences
cops were
that you
coming
observe,
from.
the distances between the roadway, and any landmarks or any items that you observe on that property, specifically a driveway, specifically a front
Driveway,
door,
fire hydrant,
any other
flagpole,
sort of
front
items
door,
of interest within the front lawn area.
sidewalk,
I'm
curb.
also going to ask you to take note of the roadway itself, sort of the width of that roadway, whether or not you find any sort of lanes separating within that roadway, and then the individual width of some of those lanes as well. Lastly, there is also going to be a vehicle there as well. And I'm going to ask you to take note of certain things with respect to that vehicle, okay? With respect to the size of it, with respect to the height of it, with respect to anything that you observe specifically from the front, the side, the back, all of the exterior of that vehicle, and then also some of the interior of that. And specifically, I'm going to ask you to take note of sort of the center console in the front driver's compartment of that vehicle, and anything that you observe in that location as well.
I sped it up just a
And that
little
is
bit.
all I'm asking you to do in this case, and I thank you again for your time and attention.
All right, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's the first time we've been able to speak to you directly, so I want to take the opportunity to introduce myself and thank you for your service and thank you for your time and commitment to this. I'm going to echo a lot of what Mr. Lally just said.
Sorry,
There's
I'm mean sometimes.
nothing magical about this,
Sorry.
other than it gives you
Sometimes.
perspective. It's an opportunity to introduce you in three-dimensional form to stuff that you've been seeing in two-dimensional form. Photographs,
Yes.
some of the testimony, diagrams that you might see.
So I'm sorry, we're really pointed on what you can say.
What we're going to ask you to do is take special note of the relationships of physical items out at the scene. Much as Mr. Lally just indicated, there are going to be physical things out at the scene. What about a flagpole, a fire hydrant, a house? We're going to ask you to take special note of where those are in relation to other things physically at the scene. That will hopefully, with the court's instruction, give you some assistance in putting together the testimony that you think is relevant, the documents that you think are relevant. Again, to echo what Mr. Lally said, we're going to ask you to look at the roadway, the vehicle, the house, the physical items at the home, and the relationship between and among all of those things to each other. Hopefully, that will give you a very good understanding of what we're dealing with, especially with the exhibits. Thank you.
All right, so folks, we'll be all set. We'll see you at the bus in a little bit.
Just make sure you don't look so closed.
You are muted. Goodbye.
I need information.
Quiet, ladies.
So now what? Now I need to know. I need to know what's going on now also. Okay, so they are going on a viewing. Which I think will be definitely extremely helpful. I know for me, if I wasn't familiar with the area, it would help kind of tie in depending on what route they take. Where's my hair crooked? They would. It's a long morning. I know why my hair's crooked. Oh, poor thing. So I think having the route of where the house was, the timing, the all the things, I think that will be really
Your Honor, I'm so
good
sorry
for
the false start. I wanted to make one final record on the court's ruling. I respect the court's ruling.
Go ahead, you can make your record.
Maybe it would be
Okay,
better
he's
if
making
I
a
did it
record.
over here.
Yay.
I wanted to interpose an objection to.
So I think it would be better if you did it over here.
It's illegal. It's just illegal.
I don't know what you're doing. Come over here and tell me what you're going to do, and then I'll put you back there and do it.
Oh, but he wants it. If it's on the record, I want to hear. I think it'll be easier if I do it here at the podium, right? Respectfully at the podium. Respectfully.
May I get that?
Yes.
Okay, as it relates to the 4 exhibits that the court deemed were not admissible because of a violation of Rule 14, I wanted to elaborate just very briefly.
Go ahead.
Our objection. We believe that under Rule 14, we were not obligated to have to present these exhibits to the Commonwealth in discovery. Rule 14 does not require such disclosure when the exhibits are used for impeachment only, and that's exactly what those 4 exhibits were going to be used for, and what we intended to use them for. Had this witness said, I know Caitlin Albert, we've been friends for 10 years, we went to high school together, we've been on day trips together, we've been to the beach together, and we've socialized together. I wouldn't have to show any photographs, but that's not what she said. What she said was, I went to high school with a person named Caitlin Albert, which is a bastardization of the truth. That's not the truth. And those 4 photographs are what got her in the voir dire process, what got her to admit that she in fact does know Caitlin Albert, and those are on a very, very different level than she first suggested.
Okay, I'm just gonna pause it real quick. Are going back to Rule 14, which is like a really popular legal law rule. I don't know, like the rules of trial law. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but we hear Rule 14 come up a lot in trials because when it comes to, like he said the impeachment of a witness. When we hear the word impeachment and it's like impeach the president or whatever, it's basically just it's like legally in trial calling them out on a lie that they are going to correct with the questioning that they're at then. So they said one thing and then they come in with a piece of evidence to impeach that witness and be like, okay, but that was a lie because this is actually the truth, right? I hope I did a good job explaining that.
As the SJC has explained in the case of Commonwealth versus Aguiar, Aguiar, at 400 Mass 508, Penn site at 513. It's a 1987 case that says the following, and then I'll finish my record. Quote, the defendant has a constitutional right to bring to a jury's attention any circumstance which may materially affect the testimony of an adverse witness, which might lead the jury to find that the witness is under an influence to prevaricate. It matters not that the evidence would reveal an otherwise inadmissible fact, such as the witness's commission of a crime. A judge may not restrict cross-examination of a material witness by foreclosing inquiry into a subject that could show bias or prejudice on the part of the witness, end quote. And that's exactly what we believe we were entitled to do with Katie McLaughlin as a witness for the Commonwealth. She has bias, or at least the jurors could consider a bias. She has prejudice. The jurors could consider a prejudice because of a pre-existing relationship with Caitlin Albert about which she was not truthful. So I wanted to make that record and ask the court to reconsider whether or not those 4 exhibits could be introduced. I don't need to make any big deal about it. I don't want to call her back to the stand, but I think the jurors, now having had the description of those photographs, should be able to see them in evidence.
Okay. All right, so that request is denied. The record's clear. So Ms. Reed is not going
Denied.
on this view. She just needs to make sure she's back here by the time we return. So Mr. Yannetti, you're nodding.
Yes,
You will
understood.
contact her and make sure
Understood.
she's back here.
Understood. All rise for the court, please.
When are we returning? I wish you would tell us when we were returning. I wish you would tell us when we are returning. I would assume they're going on The View, not the show The View. They're going on The View, The View, and then quite possibly lunch, and then return after lunch. I don't know why they would withhold return and then have lunch and then come back again. I am not sure. I will do some digging and see. This judge is very quick to walk away. This judge is very quick with her decision making. This judge has made decisions throughout hearings that even though it was an agreement between both the defense and the prosecution, the judge has made a decision in the opposite.
Hey there, Karen Reed, trial watchers. You know what a lot of the
side.
trials we cover remind me?
So,
It's that you got to be careful who you surround yourself.
oh, hush up. Oh, hush up. So, with that, I think it was a very interesting day in court. Did we spend a lot of time on Katie McLaughlin? Yes, we did. Was it necessary time? I hope so. I hope that it rounds out to be necessary time spent on Katie. I really, really do. I got some stuff going on here. So I don't know. I gotta take this out of my ear. I feel like I talk like 3 times louder with it in it. I don't know if I'll be able to come back this afternoon. I hope so. I'm gonna do some digging and see sort of like an estimated time of when they'll be back. And if I am back like after they already come back, we'll just put it on 1.25 speed and we will go from there. I want to stay as up to date by the end of the day as possible. So even if like I say like I'm an hour late to court, I'll be here till the end of court. Till we finish watching court, just because I want to stay up to date and I don't want to start behind next week. We got lucky with them having Wednesday off that I kind of caught up for Thursday, and now we're caught up for today. So I think we'll do a little digest. And then if we want to talk about anything, we will do a little chitty chat about what just happened this morning. I think it's best for me personally to kind of digest it a little bit, kind of think on it and let sort of things settle in my brain. Because we had a bit of a roller coaster of emotions today. So when we come back, if we come back, who knows, this judge is a lot to me, is a lot of energy. She's got a lot of energy. She's got a lot of physical reactions to things. So we'll chat about that when we come back. So for that, thank you guys for being here in this beautiful Friday morning. I may see you guys this afternoon. Okay, be good. See you later. Bye.